Let's do one more question.
Yeah, Senator, really quickly, I watched your interview with New York Times. You brought up concerns about corporate censorship in the 2020 election.
Sure.
It was asked 5 times, do you think Donald Trump lost in 2020? So definitively, can you say, separate from your concerns about corporate censorship, do you believe Trump lost in 2020?
What I find, look, as I said in that interview, and I'm going to say to you right now, I think the election of 2020 had serious problems. You want to call it rigged, call it whatever you want to. It wasn't okay. It wasn't okay. Now, you guys, again, you look at President Trump's campaign, you look at what I'm doing out there, we are focused on fixing the disastrous consequences of Kamala Harris's governance. Why is the American media focused so much on relitigating 2020? Trust me, I know what I think. I've told you. I know what Donald Trump thinks. He's told you. I know what the people in this room think. They've told you. You know what I'm a hell of a lot more worried about than what happened in 2020? I'm a hell of a lot more worried that American citizens can't afford a good life in their country because Kamala Harris has been the vice president. And that is what I'm trying to change. But look, but this is, I appreciate y'all. But look, this is fundamentally, I think, the difference between how Republicans think about this issue, how Kamala Harris thinks about this issue, and frankly, I think how most Americans are on the side of the Republican ticket here. What is a bigger, I mean, the American media ought to ask itself this question. What is the bigger threat to democracy? That Donald Trump, even if you disagree with him, this is assuming you disagree with him, that Donald Trump litigated, as was his right, the 2020 election, or that major technology firms that are in bed with the Communist Chinese Party censored American citizens? Censorship is a way bigger threat to American democracy than anything the Republicans have done over the last 5 years. And this is something that I think is so important, because what we really are at risk of and losing in this country if we lose this election is the right for you to speak your mind. If you thought that it was dumb that we were masking toddlers, 3-year-olds, at the height of COVID, you ought to be able to speak your mind. If you think that it is ridiculous that Kamala Harris opened the border and let in tons of fentanyl, you ought to be able to speak your mind. If you think that it is disgraceful that we are spending billions of dollars on illegal aliens while our own veterans suffer from homelessness, you ought to be able to speak your mind. Agree or disagree, Donald Trump and I will fight for the First Amendment, because that is the most important right we have in the United States of America, and we're not going to forget it. And so that was the last question, but let me leave you with this final thought, because look, this is what's at stake in this election. You see with the media, I think I was asked 2 or 3 questions about 2020. I don't know if I was asked a single question about inflation. I think I was maybe asked 1 question, or maybe 0, about American manufacturing and how to rebuild the middle class in this country. I think I was asked 0 questions about the American southern border. What Kamala Harris and the media are doing is trying to tell us that we should care more about what happened 4 years ago than about her failure of governance. I think that on November the 5th, we are going to reject it, we're going to push back against it, and we are going to say the people's president, Donald J. Trump, is coming back to town to fight for all of us. God bless you guys. Thank you for having me.